Anyone who's listened to my Moon Called reviewed might remember that urban fantasy books have fallen out of my favor. As such, Stormfront, the first novel in the Harry Dresden files, had an uphill battle when it came to getting on my good side. All things considered though, it actually did pretty well. Stormfront came out in April 2000 and was written by Jim Butcher. It's about a wizard who works as something of a private detective. Right off the bat, we're treated to a grizzled PI who solves those extra bloody crimes that the Chicago PD can't make sense of. In the case of this story, he's asked to solve a double homicide in which the victims' hearts both exploded from within their chests. As far as story intros go, this one was pretty good at grabbing my attention. Dresden's situation is a tough one. He works alone in a shoddy building, drives a crappy car, and business is not good. So much so that he's almost enthusiastic when he gets not only the aforementioned murder case, but a missing persons case in the same day. Cases mean money, and money means that he and his fat cat named Mister don't get kicked out of his crappy apartment. From there, he has to balance his personal life, his job, his relationship with the police detective who hired him, all while dodging a black mage who's trying to kill him. Fun! Dresden makes for a fitting hero in this world. Magic isn't widely known, protected somewhat by a group of mages known as the White Council. And the White Council does not like Dresden. You see, magic has several rules that mages have to follow, and one of them is, don't use magic to kill humans. Claiming self-defense might save a wizard from execution under this rule, but not always. Dresden is one of those fortunate souls who managed to successfully win at such a case, but now he has most of the White Council watching his every move. In addition, he has a warden watching him, a stubborn man named Donald Morgan. Morgan is a simple man, carrying around a grey cloak and a magic sword, has been tasked with watching Dresden and has been authorized to kill him if Dresden takes one step out of line. Morgan is loyal to the White Council to a fault and has it out for Dresden, just looking for a reason to execute the ragged wizard. Morgan isn't the only standout side character, of course. There's also Lieutenant Karen Murphy of the Chicago PD. She's perhaps the only person on the force willing to entertain Dresden's thoughts on magic, and will sometimes hire him when she comes across a case with either a magical twist or one that she can't quite figure out. The events in the book lead her to start suspecting Dresden, though I thought they came across as a little forced, like she was suspecting him just because it was easier, not because she had any evidence against him. There's also a fairy that Dresden catches named Toot-toot. I don't have much to say about him, I just wanted to point out that someone in this book was named Toot-toot. And then there's Bob, the spirit who lives inside a skull in Dresden's basement. He helps Dresden in studying magic, such as coming up with the right formulas in alchemy. He's the right type of sidekick for a character like Dresden, a total smartass and a ladies' man. He was perhaps my favorite character aside from Dresden. Now, I've been fairly positive about the book thus far, but there are some criticisms that I have to levy. For starters, the pacing is awful. I found myself putting the book down on a number of occasions, not because I didn't like the characters or the story, but because it took forever for anything to happen. A lot of this has to do with Butcher setting up the world and how magic works. Now, it's not as bad as Moon Called, in which it took forever for nothing to happen, but I personally could have gone for some more neatly detailed action scenes, and some of the other side characters I haven't mentioned could have been written better. At one point, Dresden goes to visit a vampire who runs a strip joint, and I swear I was so bored by the time the scene with her was done that I had forgotten why Dresden visited her in the first place. Still, I've read reviews online that say this problem goes away with later books, so I'm trying to be optimistic for the rest of the series. Part of the other problem I had really wasn't the fault of the book at all. I had an idea of what to expect in regards to the magic, but I was completely wrong and my perception threw me off. I went into the book imagining World of Warcraft type of magic, where one can just cast something like a fireball at will. No, this is more complicated. The magic in the Dresden Files is more like casting as a wizard in Dungeons & Dragons. One needs reagents and spell components in order to cast things, or a wizard needs enchanted items to help defend from offensive magic and things like that. Unfortunately, these are also the same qualities that kept me from playing a wizard in D&D. Rangers are better anyway. Again, this is not the fault of the book, and it's not objectively wrong, it's just my personal preference. Overall, I'd have to say that Stormfront is a pretty good book, not a bad time to be had for sure. It's a simple detective story with a magical twist that fans of urban fantasy will likely enjoy. Again, there are pacing issues throughout, but the main character is interesting, and I found that was enough to keep me going. So, have you read the book? What did you think? If not, do you want to read it now? Whatever your thoughts, comment below and stay tuned for more.